On August 13th, it will be the 55th anniversary of a tragic moment in post-war German history. You can see it right behind me here. It's the day that communist East Germany began building the Berlin Wall. Now, standing 3.5 meters high, it divided families, friends, and an entire city, this city that we're in, for almost 3 decades. Well, today, all of what's left of the Berlin Wall are a handful of memorial sites. But now one of our reporters has found a trash sorting center which still has an entire section of the wall.
The Berlin Wall, historic landmark or gate to a garbage dump? Udo Kuber runs this waste disposal plant for the recycling company Alba. He remembers when these concrete chunks were first brought here, a few weeks after the wall fell. Alba and other companies were tasked with taking down the wall and disposing of it. We kept these pieces of the wall and put them up in this yard as barriers between the various materials we recycle. Berlin Wall expert Gerhard Zelter has come to check out the discovery. Zelter is certain that most of the 300 segments here are parts of the Berlin Wall. In the summer of 1990, when they started demolishing the wall, these pieces of wall had no special value, so it's no real shock that they wound up here. You have to think back to the times. Berliners from east and west, politicians and the public were in absolute agreement. They'd had enough of the wall and wanted it gone. It's a twist of history that's not lost on the workers. Udo Schurer has been around long enough to remember seeing the wall go up. So now it's a great thing to have the wall here at the dump. It serves a good purpose, and we've basically pushed the rest right out of our minds. For many here, the Berlin Wall has ended up where it always belonged, the trash heap of history.
All right, out of the trash into Studio 3, here is David Levitz from our Culture Desk. You do have to look, David, really long and hard if you want to find any remnants of the Berlin Wall today. Now, of course, we have a report about it being found on a trash pile somewhere. So what does that tell us about the way the country deals with its past?
Well, I think if you talk about the way the country deals with the East German past, it's a pretty spot-on metaphor. After the wall came down, there were plenty of East Germans who were very happy that it did, but who also felt like the West Germans were coming in and changing their street names and telling them what to do, telling them what to learn in school. I think, though, if we look at the example of the Berlin Wall, it's pretty easy to understand why it was not seen as historical heritage to be preserved. There was such joy when it came down. Right. It was this instrument of oppression for so many people, keeping people inside East Germany. 138 people died trying to cross it. So when it came down, you had 150 kilometers of concrete wall. That's a huge supply with basically zero demand, and they just wanted it gone.
Of course, the demand since then has done nothing but increase. And we've even got reports that a piece of the wall, a whole section, can sell today for as much as 12,000 euros.
That's right, like the sections we saw in the piece.
Right, so why isn't then, this trash company, this depot, why aren't they just selling pieces of the wall then? I mean, they can make a lot of money on what they have, right?
I think, honestly, I don't think they really knew what they were sitting on. Now that we've been there with our camera crew, I think probably my opinion is that they're going to be a little bit more aware of what they're sitting on. There are actually some issues about ownership. Who owns this wall that's been at the trash heap forever? Is it the recycling company? Is it it's not the East German government. They don't exist anymore. Right. But I think when that's sorted out, you should be taking a look at eBay, assuming that you have 12,000 euros and change to buy a piece of it if you're interested.
They do say that one man's trash or junk is another man's
piece of the Berlin Wall.
What then do you think this tells us about the way the German government handles its heritage?
Well, if you look at the Berlin Wall specifically, there are only, as you said, a handful of places to go to in the city to see it, and they are major tourist destinations. The East Side Gallery, painted by artists from all over the world.
That's what we're seeing right now.
This is what we're seeing right now. Interesting that you asked that, because just a few years ago, the Berlin government came and removed several segments of that wall to put up high-rise luxury condos, and that did not go down well. There were protesters out. David Hasselhoff, who sang as the wall was falling down, came back to sing his song. Crowds. Some of the same people who protested to have the wall come down are now protesting to keep it up. So I think in Berlin of today, there's this push for development, and there's it's a little short-sighted, because what's really rich about the city is its history.
All right, David Levitz, as always, thank you very much. The wall that will not go away completely. All right, you're watching DW News live from Berlin. I'll be back at the top of the hour with more news, followed by the day.